This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
All right, and welcome to the GSMC Sports Podcast. This episode is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network, and as always, I am your host, Jesse Tapia. All right, it's Thursday. I don't know why, but today really feels like a Friday. All right, just got that like Friday type of feeling. But nonetheless, all right, here's what we're talking about today. Vegas has made the Raptors the favorites to land Kawhi Leonard. All right. It's a possibility. I mean, Vegas obviously knows more than we do, so who knows? All right, we're going to be talking about that for the first segment. Second segment, we're going to be talking about Croatia and France. Does Croatia have any chance whatsoever against France on Sunday? All right, we'll be talking about that. Third segment, we'll either get into some NFL topics or some MLB topics, and then for the fourth segment, we will be talking about anything else going on in the world of sports. All right. Speaking of NFL topics, I mean, Madden ratings came out. We're not really going to get too much into this or whatever. We're just some thoughts to start out the show. All right. Madden ratings come out, and I don't understand why fans tend to get frustrated over the ratings. Okay? It's a video game. It's not real life. All right? I love playing Madden as much as the next guy. All right, I'm more of a FIFA person myself, but nonetheless, Madden will do the job. Okay? Madden, you can go and you can change your favorite player's rating if you want. Okay, if it's that serious to you. But like I said, I don't understand why, like even NFL writers and all that, they'll get all hung up on, oh, Madden got this wrong, Madden got that wrong. Who cares? Okay, I don't understand it. I mean, you could change the ratings in the game, but of course, I mean, someone's got to get mad at something, right? I mean, it's a bit ridiculous because like people will legit like get angry at it. I don't understand it whatsoever. Okay, they're like, oh, his combine numbers were this. Oh, he did this last season. Why is he this rating? Like, who cares? All right, it's just a video game. You'll live. All right, but nonetheless, I mean, it's always a joy to watch people lose their minds over some video game ratings. The 2K ones are usually pretty good to watch. People get mad at. People tend not to get mad too much at FIFA ratings, mainly because there's way too many teams and all that to get mad over. But nonetheless, like I said, just want to start out with that, all right? I mean, if you want to get mad over that, that's cool, but nonetheless, I feel like you're just wasting your time, okay? But nonetheless, all right, Kawhi Leonard, for me, the biggest diva in the NBA, okay? I mean, how could he not be? I mean, dude, there's been reports, obviously, we've talked about him rehabbing in New York. His camp didn't pretty much hit him from the Spurs, so they couldn't visit with him. I mean, that's an ultimate diva move. All right, diva move. Dude sat out the entire year with an injury where he probably could have played. Okay, we had Tony Parker saying he had the same injury, but it was, 100 times worse, he said, or 10 times worse? Can't remember exactly how many times worse Tony Parker said his was. All right. And I guess that's what pretty much set Kawhi Leonard off, which, I mean, his whole camp, him and his camp have completely handled this whole situation wrong. Okay? It would have been better off just requesting for a trade and that's it. Okay, and playing last season. All right? I think it all is, I think what could have happened possibly is, we saw Isaiah Thomas, okay, with the Celtics. Career year, one of the greatest offensive seasons in Celtics history. Okay. And it was looking like he was going to be getting paid. All right, like max type money. Isaiah Thomas has the hip injury. He plays through the playoffs with it up until the Eastern Conference Finals because he can't play no more. Okay. And that essentially has lost him plenty of dollars. Okay, Isaiah Thomas right now, there's only a few teams I think that are really looking to pick him up. All right, but nonetheless, yeah, Isaiah goes over to Cleveland. Okay, doesn't play till January. With Cleveland, doesn't really work out because him and the locker room don't really mix. They end up sending him to the Lakers. He played well with the Lakers. All right, but seems like obviously the Lakers have moved on now that they got LeBron. So now he's waiting to see what's left for him. Okay, and then you got him teasing the fans, talking about how on Instagram a comment he left saying how he could possibly come back to Boston or whatever, but he put an LOL at the end, so I think that was just a big joke. I don't expect him coming there. But nonetheless, I think that Kawhi Leonard and his camp looked at that situation and saw, you know what, we don't want this to happen to us. So I think he just sat out the year with the injury because of the fact that he didn't want to lose money. All right, I think this whole thing has been about money. All right, and I mean, usually when it comes to the NBA or any professional sports, that's what it's about. Okay, of course, people will point out Kawhi is not about the money. Right, he drives a Tahoe or whatever from like 1998, lives in an apartment. That's cool and all, but once you start seeing how much money you can make in a big market off of endorsements and all that, and seeing the kind of contract you can get if you don't end up getting hurt, yeah, money's going to mean something to you. Okay, it might not mean everything, but it's going to mean something. And I think that's where we're at here, okay? Kawhi Leonard has always been painted as this quiet, humble guy who isn't about the money or anything like that. But like I said, once we saw that whole story about Jordan not wanting to offer him a bunch of money or whatever on his endorsement deal because he doesn't play in a big market, that's when all this started to come out. Okay, as far as Kawhi Leonard not wanting to be in San Antonio. People don't realize that, okay? They tend to point to the whole injury thing as the reason why, when in reality, I just think that it was the endorsement deal, him not getting what he wanted. All right, I think Jordan was offering him, I can't remember if it was Ben Simmons or somebody, like the same as a rookie. All right. Obviously, if you're Kawhi Leonard, you're one of the best players in the NBA, you're not going to be wanting to make the same money as a rookie off your endorsement deal. All right. So obviously that's happened. I mean, we've kind of all gotten past it. I said the Spurs just need to send him to like some terrible team or whatever. Send him to like a Charlotte or maybe even a Sacramento type of thing to do it. But seems like the Raptors, hasn't really been too much news about him, but like I said, Vegas has the Raptors as the favorites to sign him or to trade for him. All right. And you know I've said before that Toronto, people look at Toronto the wrong way, the same way they looked at Carmelo Anthony the wrong way. Not Toronto, but the NBA, the Denver Nuggets, and New York Knicks. Okay, Carmelo Anthony was never a guy you build around. All right, he's a guy you add to your franchise when you already got your franchise player there. All right. And I think if that would have happened, then Melo would have had a much better career and probably would have won some more. But nonetheless, everyone looks at the Raptors as if they're led by DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry. Like, those are the two guys you build around. That's wrong. Those are the guys you add to your franchise piece. Okay, DeMar DeRozan isn't a guy you build a team around. Kyle Lowry is not a guy you build a team around. Okay, you do that, you're going to get bounced in the playoffs every single year. Okay, that's great. They're a great regular season team, but nonetheless, you need that star in the playoffs, and they don't have a star as good as DeMar DeRozan is. Okay? That's what I've been saying, that you know what? They need to add to this team. Okay? Kawhi Leonard makes them a real contender. Last few years, they haven't been real contenders. I could care less what you do in the regular season. All right? Peyton Manning was unstoppable in the regular season. But for the most part, when it came to the playoffs, he couldn't get the job done. All right, until finally they beat the Bears in the Super Bowl. Okay. So, I mean, Kawhi Leonard to the Raptors, like I said, does make them an actual contender, and I think it does put them on par with Boston and makes them a little bit better than Philly. All right. Actually, does it put them on par with Boston? I mean, I think it depends what they'd have to give up. Okay. Like, you got OG Anunoby, all right, only 20 years old right now. Would you have to part with a guy like him? All right, maybe you get rid of a guy like Serge Ibaka, but even then, so I don't think he really fits with the Spurs. Maybe a Norman Powell, Pascal Siakam. All right, maybe Spurs want a guy like Fred VanVleet, who just signed a new deal this offseason. I mean, it's interesting to see what kind of deal the Spurs could get done with the Raptors. All right, and even then, so I mean, if you're the Raptors, you're taking a chance on a guy who might not even re-sign with you in the offseason. Okay? And if you're the Spurs, you're thinking, how valuable are those first-round picks? Are those going to be first-round picks that we're going to be spending in the late 20s, or are they going to be lottery-type picks? All right. And I don't think we'll be seeing any type of Brooklyn Nets, Boston Celtics type of deal where the Raptors are sending the Spurs 4 unprotected first-round picks. All right. I don't think we'll ever see a deal like that again. Shout out to Billy King. All right. But nonetheless, I mean, yeah, Kawhi and the Raptors actually makes them legitimate. All right. I know Raptors fans are shaking their heads right now thinking how they couldn't have been, how they weren't legitimate the last few years. But, I mean, look at what you guys did in the playoffs. Nothing. Okay. Absolutely zero. All right. Do they compete with the Warriors? No. They're on par with the Celtics, like I said. Okay. This isn't a team with Kawhi that can beat the Warriors. Could they maybe get past Boston and make the finals? Possibly. All right, I still think Boston would be the favorites, but nonetheless, Kawhi Leonard does add that extra oomph to that team. All right, you got Lowry, DeRozan, Leonard, I'm sure Ibaka, and then Valanciunas. That's a real solid starting five there, and one that could get you the number 1 seed in the East again. Okay? But, I mean, I'm just curious because I don't really think too much of this Raptors team as of right now. All right, I still don't like the fact that they got rid of Dwayne Casey. All right, I'm not sure how well this new coach that they got is going to do. But nonetheless, I mean, Kawhi Leonard to the Raptors, I always said that he was probably going to end up with some random team, and I think the Raptors do qualify as a random team as far as the Kawhi Leonard sweepstakes. I mean, we've been hearing Boston, Philly, LA, teams like that, but, I mean, this is the first time we've heard Raptors, and the Raptors aren't necessarily a team who, how do you say, are usually in the sweepstakes for big-name players like that as far as trades. So, like I said, if it was going to end up on a random team, it'd be something like this. All right? So we'll see if it ends up happening. I mean, I just wanted to talk about it because I saw today that Vegas ended up making them the favorites. Obviously, they got to have some type of information to do that. But nonetheless, like I said, Kawhi and the Raptors, that probably gets you around 55 wins. All right? So we'll see how it all ends up. I mean, we still got a whole offseason to go. But nonetheless, we're going to wrap it up here. Next up, we're going to be talking a bit about Sunday's final World Cup final between France and Croatia. So stay tuned, and I'll be right back.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines. They got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. We spent that first segment talking about the idea of Kawhi Leonard going to the Spurs, or not to the Spurs, to the Raptors. All right, Spurs would be trading him there. But nonetheless, I mean, Vegas has them as the favorite, so obviously there's got to be some type of, substance there, I think. All right. I mean, my point was, I've always thought that if he was going to go to a team, it'd be to a random team like that. All right. I don't think we've ever really seen the Raptors as far as big-time players in the Kawhi Leonard sweepstakes up until Vegas said, yeah, they're the favorites to sign or to trade for him. All right. So, we'll see if that ends up happening. If it does, great. If it doesn't, where else could he go? Okay, honestly. I don't see Boston trading for him. Okay, I don't see the Lakers trading for him. It's going to be tough. There's not really too much out there for Kawhi Leonard because it's pretty much known that he wants to go to LA. If I'm the Spurs, just see what the Clippers are willing to offer and send him there. All right. And speaking of the Clippers, you got Jerry West saying that the Lakers didn't even have to really work to get LeBron James. I believe it. We all knew for months that's where LeBron was going, like I said, besides Cleveland fans, but I feel like we all knew. Yeah, LeBron's going to LA. All right. It was pretty much written in the stars. Okay. We also thought Paul George was going to LA, but that never happened. All right. With a handful of other superstars that were supposed to be going to LA. But nonetheless, I mean, we'll see about it all. All right. So now we move over to soccer. World Cup, Sunday, final. All right. Third place game on Saturday if you want to watch Belgium and England play another meaningless game. But nonetheless, Sunday's game is the one that matters. All right. Croatia obviously beat England on Wednesday. England, I mean, it was classic England. Okay? You score early, and you seemingly forget how to play, and you deserve to lose the game. All right? It was a bit ridiculous how the game progressed on for England. Okay? I mean, I feel like we all figured that England, for the most part, was one of the better teams in the tournament, given the way they were playing. And one thing, too, that I guess context helps is that England didn't really have a difficult road to the semifinal. The toughest team they played was either Belgium or Colombia, but I mean, Belgium didn't even play their first team, and they still beat England. Okay, England beat Tunisia, they beat Panama, okay, and then they beat Sweden after that. I mean, yeah, you did beat Colombia, but that was a Colombia team without James, too. Okay, so maybe, me included, we all maybe got a little too overhyped on England. Okay? Because, I mean, Croatia ended up winning a group with Argentina, an Iceland team who did well in the Euros. Okay, and a Nigeria team who has a lot of talent and probably will do some damage in the 2022 World Cup. All right, Nigeria was the youngest team, I think, in this year's tournament, so it's a bit tough to get through unless you're a team like France, okay, who has the second youngest team. All right, but nonetheless, Croatia knocked off England, and here we are now with them playing France on Sunday. All right, France, I think for me, is the favorite. I think for everyone, they got to be the favorite. All right, I'm sure there's some people rooting for Croatia, but we know right now France is the better team. Okay, on paper and I guess on the field. All right, but what do we expect? Does this Croatian team have a chance? Yes, obviously they do. Okay, the way Luka Modric has been playing so far in this tournament has been amazing. All right, the way Rakitic has been playing has been great, and same with Perisic. I mean, Perisic, Kyle Walker had no answer for the guy down the wing on Wednesday. It was ridiculous. I think that was probably Kyle Walker's worst game in the World Cup. Okay, Perisic was causing him problems the entire time. Perisic could have had probably one more goal, or possibly two more than that match. All right. The goal for Croatia, I think, is to defend well on set pieces and to at least try and control the midfield and to pretty much disrupt N'Golo Kante. All right, because Kante, I'd say right now, is the best. I don't know, he's one of the best midfielders. All right, the way he controls the game for France and pretty much keeps everything calm is very important. And I mean, we got the same thing with Modric. Modric is able to play defensively, he's able to play attacking, he's also just playing the center where you're just distributing the entire time. Okay? And I'm curious, too, if Croatia end up getting this World Cup win against France, does that get Modric the Ballon d'Or? Okay? I mean, we've lived in an era where last person who won it besides Messi or Ronaldo was Kaká, I think. Okay? And that was a long time ago. Now we're at the point where you maybe think maybe possibly a guy like Neymar could win it instead of them, or maybe a guy like Hazard. All right? But I don't think anyone's really ever thought of like a midfielder overtaking him for that award. But, like I said, Modric does have a solid chance to do it. I think that talk is starting to gain steam about him possibly winning it if Croatia beats France on Sunday. Okay? I wouldn't be opposed to it. Modric winning the World Cup, also the Champions League, probably the two biggest tournaments in the world. Plus, we all know he's played extremely well. Both tournaments, I mean, why not? All right. But nonetheless, I mean, it's gonna be tough for Croatia in this game. Okay, because not only do you have to worry about a guy like Mbappe, you got to worry about Griezmann. Okay, you got to worry about Pogba and Kante in the midfield. All right, you got to worry about guys like Matuidi or Tolisso. Okay, plus you got that back four in France who has seemingly played extremely well. Plus Lloris has played well as the keeper. All right, it's going to be one where I think Croatia might just have to sit back a bit, counterattack, and go from there. All right. But Croatia, I mean, I did have them going to the final. Okay, I might have picked England against them and won against it, but nonetheless, Croatia, the team with the 3% chance to win the World Cup, is here. All right. I think if you would have bet $20 on Croatia, you would have won $600. So, shout out to anyone who is close to winning that if Croatia wins on Sunday. All right. I mean, as far as who I think is going to win, I got to go France right now, okay? And we're going to talk more about the game on Friday just so we get as much preview as we can. But nonetheless, I mean, Croatia, I don't know. It's been a real tough go of it for them so far. Like, not tough go of it, but it hasn't been the easiest path to get here, all right? You had to go to extra time with Denmark, had to go to penalties with Russia, and had to go to extra time with England. Okay, Croatia have tried to combat the tired legs narrative that everyone's trying to push on them, but I mean, it is something that you have to pay attention to. All right? They're out here playing, the last 3 games they've played have been 120 minutes plus. Okay? France, I don't think have had to play they haven't had to play extra time yet. All right? So, I mean, that's about 90 minutes more than what you want. Croatia has to be feeling it at least a little bit. Okay? Especially, and it's going to be tough. I mean, like I said, that's why they got to sit back and counterattack on Sunday, because if you're going to try to go head-to-head with France, I mean, the speed and everything about them is going to hurt Croatia. All right? So we'll see how it all goes down, but I don't know. Croatia can get it done. It's just a point where it just seems like this France team is way too good right now. I mean, to beat Argentina the way that they did, all right, then Uruguay, and I do know Cavani didn't play for Uruguay in that match, but nonetheless, you got Luis Suarez up top. He's still a dangerous striker, probably one of the best in the world still. Okay? And then you beat a Belgium team who was playing pretty much as well as anyone could in the tournament. I mean, won their group all 3 matches. Okay, beat Brazil, beat Japan in a thriller, and France just basically just dominated that match. All right? So, it's going to be, I think as far as score prediction, I don't know, I kind of want to go Croatia here. All right? I think I'll go 2-1 France. Okay? But even then, so, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a boring game, because France is one where they can score and they can just sit back and they're still going to get more opportunities than you. All right? It's going to be real interesting. There's a lot of different styles in this match. I mean, whoever wins the midfield battle is going to have the best chance to win the match. All right, we got Rakitic and Modric versus Kanté and Pogba. Is going to be real interesting. All right, both world class. I'd say both top 10 midfielders. If anything, I could say maybe Modric, Kanté, I think are both top 5 midfielders in the world right now. Pogba was before he got to United, but even then, so I don't think we could really discredit what Pogba brings to the table. All right, he's still a real good player. So we'll see how it all goes down. Like I said, that match is on Sunday. We got Belgium and England on Saturday. That's not. I'm curious. I mean, it's like I think England's gonna lose that match. All right, I'm gonna give that one to Belgium. It just seems that England. It's almost as if everyone's forgot that they even play on Saturday. All right, it's gonna be real interesting to see how they show up after losing in heartbreaking fashion to Croatia. I just think it's gonna be a little bit too much. I think we could see Belgium winning this one if they play their first team like 3-1 or something like that. All right. So we'll see how that one goes down. That one's going to be at 7 o'clock on Saturday. Let's see what time is the final on Sunday. I think it's at 8 o'clock Pacific time. 8 o'clock in the morning, I think. But nonetheless, I mean, real shame that the World Cup's coming to an end. All right. Easily the best tournament in the world. Nothing comes close to it. Yeah, so France and Croatia play at 8 o'clock on Sunday. 3rd place match, 7 o'clock on Saturday. All right. But like I said, I mean, this is one of the best World Cups of all time. I'd say probably the most exciting of all time. So now we're just going to have to wait, 4 more years till Qatar? All right, at least we got the Euros coming in 2020, I believe. All right, I think they're, every 4 years like that, 2 years after the World Cup. So we'll see how it all goes down. But nonetheless, we're going to wrap it up here. Next up, we'll either be getting into some MLB stuff or some NFL stuff. So stay tuned, and I'll be right back.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. So far today, we've talked about the idea of Kawhi Leonard going to the Raptors. All right, it's a bit of a shocker there, but nonetheless, Vegas has them as the favorites. And then last segment, we talked about the World Cup final and talked briefly about England and Belgium's third place match. All right, now we talk about some NFL topics. All right. So the war between the NFL Hall of Fame and Terrell Owens has seemed to continue. Okay. I don't really understand it, but nonetheless, it's still a story going on. Okay. So obviously we know, timeline. The story starts 3-4 years ago, however many years ago, it doesn't really matter to me. Terrell Owens, all right, one of the greatest receivers of all time, definitely probably the top 3 receiver of all time, is on the Hall of Fame ballot. Okay, you figure it's Terrell Owens. Of course he's going to get in first time because dude's one of the best to ever do it. Okay? He doesn't get in. All right, which was a bit of a shocker, but nonetheless, I think we all know why. Second year comes around, okay, they taught him his lesson. Now he's going to get in. Doesn't get in. All right. We all know why. Hall of Fame voters aren't going to go out and rightly say it because, frankly, I think they're all cowards. But nonetheless, he doesn't get in. All right. Third time around, he finally gets in. Okay. One of the greatest receivers of all time, better than Chris Carter or anyone else. All right. I think he's just behind Randy Moss. Maybe if you like Jerry Rice better than he's behind him. All right, but nonetheless, one of the best receivers of all time. Took 3 years for him to get into the Hall of Fame. Why? Because the Hall of Fame voters felt it was all about them and they wanted to teach Terrell Owens a lesson. Okay, let me tell you something. If you have a Hall of Fame vote the guys that deserve to get in. Okay, no one cares about the little message you're trying to get out. Okay, it's not about you. We don't care who you are as a Hall of Fame voter. We just want to see the right players get in. Okay? Terrell Owens should have got in the first time. All right? These Hall of Fame voters got to realize it's not about them. Okay? Just like referees. We're not there to watch referees when we're watching an NFL game. Okay? When it comes to the Hall of Fame, we're not there to watch the Hall of Fame voters. We're there to see if the best player of all time is getting in. All right? So, obviously, he finally gets in, and in typical Terrell Owens fashion, says, you know what, I'm not going to the ceremony. I'm going to hold it at my college, University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. All right? It's been a weird situation that's dragged on, weird story that's dragged on, but nonetheless, I feel like we were at the end there. It's like, okay, Terrell Owens going to have his little ceremony here. All right, we're done with it. Good. We can all move on. Nope. Now the Hall of Fame isn't going to be honoring Terrell Owens, like recognizing him. They're not going to honor him at the ceremony. Okay? Let me tell you this. The only people to blame here, okay, is the Hall of Fame voters. This is all on them. It's not on Terrell Owens. It's not on anyone else. This is on the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame are the ones who have messed up here. Okay, the voters and whoever decided we're not going to be honoring Terrell Owens. All right. Journalists tend to take themselves way too serious. Okay, and I'm talking just sports journalists here. All right, not the ones who are out there at wars and all that, covering those or anything like that, or breaking the actual big stories. The ones who are breaking trades and all that, I think, tend to take themselves a little seriously. Okay, especially the ones who have a Hall of Fame vote. All right, because fact of the matter is, you're watching people play sports and you're talking about it. We're not doing any big work or anything like that. Okay, we're not doctors. Like I said, we're not those journalists who are actually breaking big news. Okay, we're doing a easy job watching a child's game and talking about it. It's not that difficult. All right, as much as they try to tell you. But nonetheless, I mean, the fact that they're keeping pretty much shunning T.O. out is ridiculous. Okay? They're treating T.O. as if he's this bad guy who they're just seemingly completely ignoring him, when you do have people in the Hall of Fame where because I don't understand, like, what are the standards of the Hall of Fame? Okay? Do you have to be a model citizen off the field and be a great player on the field? Because if so, there's a bunch of people in that Hall of Fame who should be out. Okay? And I'm not going to go out and say any names, but I'm sure if you think hard enough, you could think of a few. Okay? But nonetheless, like I said, Terrell Owens was never bad off the field. Okay? Maybe he was a little loud in the locker room. Maybe gave journalists some stories just to write about. Alright? And did his job on the field. But now the Hall of Fame wants to be this way and not even honor him at the ceremonies. Okay? It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. Alright? Stuff like this is why the NBA is becoming more and more popular. Because we don't have stuff like this. Alright? The NFL is a game that takes itself way, way too seriously. Okay? The journalists included there. Alright? You're just watching football and you're just writing about it. Okay? You go to training camp. You talk about the young players who are looking good. You're talking about the players who are looking like they're going to take a step up. During the season, you're really talking about whether or not your team is winning or they're losing and why either is happening. Okay? That's it. And I just feel it's the point where they feel they got way too much power, so it's okay to keep Terrell Owens out of everything. Alright? Do I think Terrell Owens has some faults here? Yeah. But it's not. I'd say it's about 95% on the Hall of Fame here, 5% on Terrell Owens. Okay? You would have just voted him in the first time, we would have avoided all of this. But nonetheless, of course, Hall of Fame voters got to get their message around, or message through, so that's why we're at this point. Okay? Which is ridiculous. It's frustrating to see. I mean, if it was me, I'd just completely switch out the Hall of Fame voters, bring in some new ones. Okay, because if stuff like this is happening, then this is all embarrassing, and it just takes away from the Hall of Fame ceremony, from the guys who got voted in. Okay, how many times have we talked about Randy Moss getting in as a first ballot Hall of Famer? We haven't. Okay, Brian Dawkins, Brian Urlacher, haven't talked about him at all. Okay, and the media is going to try and push this whole thing on Terrell and act like it's his fault, when in reality it's not. Okay, like I said, this all could have been avoided, but nonetheless, Hall of Fame had to get their message across, so now it's not. Alright. So, I mean, that's my little 2 cents there. It's absolutely ridiculous. Alright. I can't stand it whatsoever. Those dudes don't deserve to be Hall of Fame voters. They're the ones who caused this. Alright. But now we move on to some other football news, not necessarily NFL news, but football news nonetheless. Okay? The AAF still can't stand that abbreviation, alright? Allegiance of American Football. We're starting to see some contract numbers come out, okay? Players are going to be getting 3-year, $250,000 contracts. All right. They are non-guaranteed contracts. They're worth $250,000. Okay, I'm not sure if it's one where, let's see. The XFL is going to be paying players an average of $75,000 per season. That one launches in 2020. I'm curious to see if it's like everyone's making that. Well, obviously not everyone, but I'm curious to see if that's what the majority is going to be getting, or if you could be making more than $250,000. Kind of some guys get a little bit more, some guys get a little bit less. Okay. Let's see. There's a team in Birmingham. Could end up in the AAF. Could end up with Trent Richardson. That'd be a nice little player to pick up. And that's like I said, you need guys like that. All right, the Trent Richardsons, guys who necessarily couldn't cut it in the NFL, but have names big enough to where they're going to attract eyeballs. All right, Trent Richardson is one of those. Of course, Trent Richardson couldn't hit a hole if he saw it, but nonetheless, they're going to pay attention to see what he's doing. Okay. I mean, the AAF, they currently got teams in Alabama, like I said, Birmingham, Memphis, Orlando, Phoenix, Salt Lake City, San Antonio, San Diego. So I guess the closest team to me is San Diego, so that kind of doesn't work out there. Hopefully the XFL puts a California team a little bit closer to Sacramento. But nonetheless, I mean, I feel like the AAF kind of has more of their stuff together than the XFL right now. All right, the AAF, I think, is going to be one. I think if I had to pick what lasts longer between the XFL and AAF, it's the AAF. Okay. XFL, I mean, been there, done that, didn't work out. Now I think it's just a point where the AAF is the new thing. Okay, of course, none of them are ever going to rival the NFL, but it's going to be a nice little something. Okay, once NFL season is over, Super Bowl's done, we move on right to the AAF, get to watch some football. Like I said, hopefully there's some big name players there. Obviously not big talented players, but nonetheless big names. All right. Just to give us our little football fix. But nonetheless, I mean, we'll see how it goes. I'm not even sure how long these leagues are going to last. Okay. Let's see. The AF is holding combines. If you want to try out, there's tryouts in LA, Houston, and Atlanta. All right. $175 if you want to go try out. Maybe I should do that. All right. Do a little video. But nonetheless, I mean, I don't think I could make the AAF. It's going to be interesting, though. I mean, you pay $175. That could turn into a $250,000 payday. All right. Well, if you hit all your incentives, but nonetheless, all right. Like I said, Pro Football Hall of Fame voters, get them all out, switch them all, bring in some new ones. Okay, it's ridiculous. They're the ones that caused this. All right. As far as the AAF, get more and more excited for that. All right. XFL, not so much. We'll see. But nonetheless, we're going to wrap it up here. Next up, we're going to be getting into some other sports news topics and all that other stuff, how we've been. So stay tuned, and I'll be right back.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red-hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's gsmcpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
All right. Welcome back to the last segment of the GSMC Sports Podcast. So far today, we've talked World Cup Final, we've talked Kawhi Leonard, and we've talked Terrell Owens, the Hall of Fame, which I can't stand, and the AAF, the Allegiance of American Football. Still got to get used to that. Doesn't necessarily roll off the tongue like XFL or NFL does. All right, I really think they need to rework that. But nonetheless, now, as you know, this is the segment where we talk about anything else going on in the world of sports. All right, so let's get into some MLB scores as we've been doing. All right, actually, let me update you on Wimbledon. All right, obviously, yesterday we had the men's quarterfinals going on. We got the semifinals going on tomorrow, I believe. And today we had the women's semifinals going on. All right. Serena Williams, once again, I mean, dominant. Okay. Won in 2 sets. Won the first one 6-2, won the second one 6-4. Okay. I mean, it's not fair, okay? She's going to be playing Angelique Kerber in the final. She beat Jelena Ostapenko 6-3, 6-3 in straight sets. I mean, Serena Williams has seemingly just zipped by this tournament, okay? I've been following it. It seems that Serena Williams has had no competition whatsoever, all right? Winning in straight sets every single time, I feel. All right, if it's not in 2, then it's in 3. I mean, no one has really come close, all right? One of the most dominant tennis players of all time is going to win in Wimbledon again, all right? I mean, what more could you ask for here? All right. ESPN, all those people definitely need to cover this a whole lot more because, I mean, she's one of the greatest ever. All right. That's just facts. I mean, we're in the era right now where, sure, maybe the 80s and 90s had a lot of big name players, but didn't have as many all-time greats as this era does. Okay. I mean, it's the truth. All right. But nonetheless, like I said, I mean, Serena just dominating. I don't see her opponent, Kerber, giving her any type of problem whatsoever. I mean, of course, tennis is at the point where you could always get a surprise. Just like we did with Federer, losing to, I think, what was his name? Kevin Anderson, I think his name was? Yeah, Kevin Anderson. All right. Federer was zipping through the tournament, playing well. Looked like he was going to win it too. But nonetheless, Kevin Anderson steps up, stops him there. All right. So like I said, Friday we got John Isner playing Kevin Anderson and then Djokovic versus Nadal. All right. Can we just make Djokovic versus Nadal the final instead of having one of them play Isner or Anderson? No disrespect to those, but nonetheless, I mean, wouldn't the ratings be a whole lot better if we had Nadal versus Djokovic? I think it would be. All right. But nonetheless, that's how Wimbledon's going right now. Tournament's about to end. Let's see. All right. What's going on in the MLB right now? Let's check the scores from yesterday. We had a couple of games going on right now. We get the A's, dude, beating the Astros 6-4 right now. A's could take, let's see, 3 out of 4 against the Astros. All right. But nonetheless, yesterday we had the Tampa Bay Rays beating the Tigers 4-2. Pirates beating the Nationals 2-0. Twins beating the Royals 8-5. The Giants beating the Cubs 5-4 in extra innings in the 13th inning. Cubs and Giants may be going at it this entire series. All right, Red Sox with yet again another win. All right, beat the Rangers 4-2. That was their 9th straight win. They're going for 10 today. He pitched yesterday, was dominant. I think he's got 5 straight starts of 11 strikeouts and a walk or less, which is absolutely ridiculous. All right, poor Bartolo Colon didn't really have a great start. And nonetheless, we got David Price going today for Boston, looking to extend that winning streak. We'll see if he's able to do it. All right. We had the Yankees beating up on the Orioles 9-0. Looking like the Yankees, like I said, are one of the favorites to trade for Manny Machado. All right, I saw that there was an Instagram post with Machado photoshopped in the Yankees jersey. Guess who liked that picture? It was Manny Machado. I'm liking this, all right? I'm liking how these players are passive-aggressively showing that they don't want to be where they are anymore and they want to go to certain spots. All right, I'm all for it. Let's have the players use their voices a little bit more, though. All right, and start controlling their futures, okay? Fans aren't going to like it, but fans are going to keep putting money into the game, so who cares? All right, and you had the Indians beating up on the Reds 19-4. All right, let's see. We had the Mets beating the Phillies in 10 innings, okay? 0-0 game through 9. 10th inning gets here. Mets win 3-0. The Mets, I mean, they're such a sad franchise. I mean, you got to play in the same city as the Yankees. It's like the Clippers and Lakers, except, I mean, the Clippers are at least they've been pretty competitive the last few years. Mets, I mean, 3 years ago they were in the World Series. Now they're a dumpster fire. All right, it's honestly ridiculous. Let's see, the Marlins beat the Brewers in 12 innings, 5-4. Then we had the Braves beating the Blue Jays 9-5. White Sox beating the Cardinals 4-0. And then the A's, like I said yesterday, beat up on the Astros 8-3. This is a series right here that shows us that the A's are legit. If they weren't legit, they'd be struggling against the Astros. But nonetheless, they're a real good team, and it looks like they do have a great chance at pulling off today's win. I'm checking out the game right now. Let me see. I think it's like the 9th inning right now as I'm recording this, and the A's are up 6-4. Scored 2 runs in the top of the... Actually, it might be the bottom of the 8th right now. I'll double check it. I'll update you right now. But nonetheless, the Rockies beat down on the Diamondbacks 19-2, and then we had the Mariners picking up a win on the Angels 3-0. And then for the final game of the night, we had the Dodgers beating the Padres 4-2. All right. Another little stat about the Red Sox. I think 1968, the Orioles were had the most wins before the All-Star break with 69, I think it was. All right. Well, actually 65, I think. Yeah, the Red Sox tied the Orioles for the most wins before the All-Star break with 65. They got 4 more games. Well, they got a game. Actually, let me see the games going on tonight. I think they're starting a new series, possibly with the Blue Jays today. All right, let me double check that. Yeah, so they're starting a series with the Blue Jays, 4-game series. So they win 1. They have the record for the most wins before the All-Star break, which is ridiculous. I mean, I expected the Red Sox to be good, but figuring with a new manager and Alex Cora, I figured that, yeah, they'd be good, but not as good as they are right now. It's a bit ridiculous, all right? And as for the games today, like I said, right now we're in the top of the 9th. The A's beating the Astros 6-4. All right, you got the Diamondbacks and Rockies playing right now as I'm recording this. They're in the top of the 6th. Diamondbacks currently winning that one 1-0. Phillies and Orioles had a series starting today. They got the Brewers and Pirates, Red Sox and Blue Jays. All right, Yankees starting a series with the Indians. We got the Mets and Nationals starting their series, Rays and Twins. The Dodgers and Padres continuing theirs, as are the Mariners and Angels. We'll see how those all go. I mean, A's, they win today. Mariners lose to the Angels. You got, what, a 5-game lead for the Mariners on the A's in that wild card spot. We'll see. Maybe the A's can catch them. I think this is going to be a year where the A's actually do something like that. All right, they always have those years, like those outlier years where they seem to make some type of crazy comeback. All right, look like a great team, beating up on teams, and like I said, once they make the playoffs, they end up getting bounced in the wild card round or in the ALDS. All right, and tomorrow the A's begin their series against the Giants. Battle of the Bay series there. It's always fun. It's going to be in San Francisco, and then they'll be going to Oakland the series after. All right. I saw the trophy too that the A's and Giants got for their little Bay Bridge or their little Battle of the Bay series. I mean, it's a nice little trophy. I think it's from the old Bay Bridge. They got some metal from that. So obviously you got a little of. Let me see if I can pull up a picture of the trophy just to describe it. All right, we'll see how good my describing skills are here. Let me see if I can find the trophy real quick. All right. So yeah, like I said, it's from the old Bay Bridge, and it's got a little baseball on top. The A's Giants logos on each side, and I guess the trophy's called the Bridge. All right, but nonetheless, I mean, it's a nice little trophy. All right, so we'll see how that Battle of the Bay goes, but nonetheless, I mean, it's always fun to see Oakland going up against San Francisco. All right, so we'll see there. Let's see anything else going on in the world of sports. Chelsea fired Antonio Conte. I mean, I don't understand what Chelsea is doing half of the time. Okay, their board seemingly has no clue what they're doing. All right, I think they're going to be getting Napoli's old coach, I believe. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Modric wasn't too happy about the English media, too, with the whole it's coming home type of saying with England. All right. I feel like they, I guess that was bulletin board material for Modric and the Croatia. That's what they were talking about. Right. When Rooney going to be making his DC United debut on Saturday? Well, I mean, he had a great career. Now it's just time to retire. All right. And with Chelsea, I mean, this seemingly happens. All right. Mourinho won the title. They had a bad year, they fire him. Conte comes in, they win the title. They have a bad year, they fire him. I mean, I think it's more so Chelsea's board rather than the managers coming in. All right. But nonetheless, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Today we talked Kawhi Leonard to the Raptors. It's a possibility. Vegas at least thinks so. All right. We talked. What else did we talk? We talked World Cup final, Croatia, France. We talked Terrell Owens. We also talked AAF. Or Alliance of American Football. And then for this segment, we talked a bit about Serena, talked about the MLB scores from yesterday, talked a bit about the A's again, and then covered some other things. So thanks for listening to the GSMC Sports Podcast. As always, I am your host, Jesse Tapia. I will be back tomorrow, so stay tuned, and I will talk to you guys later.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.